Luke chapter 2 and verse 19 says this: "But Mary quietly treasured these things in her heart and often thought about them." The things that Mary experienced with the birth of Jesus, the dramatic events of the shepherds arriving, the unusual circumstances of Jesus' birth, were things which were very unusual, very strange in her time. And yet something about these things became very important and significant for eternal history. And Mary treasured these things. She considered them. She weighed them up. She reflected on them. And she held them in her heart. And my prayer today is whatever treasures that God has given us in our experience, whatever mysteries, whatever things which we don't fully understand at the moment, whatever ways that God is speaking and intervening in our lives, we'll be able to treasure them. And we would be able to see them actually, even if we don't fully understand them. We would see them as important treasures, important moments, important jewels in God's plan and purpose. And He has so many things to unfold for us. He has so many future promises to unpack. Things that happen now we might not fully understand. The things that we experience that God's doing, we might not fully realise the outcomes of them later on. But I pray that we will ponder them, that we will treasure them, that we will hold on to them, that we will value them, that we would know that God is doing and speaking and working in the mysterious, in the background, in the unknowns, in the little details, in the different situations that are going on now, and that He has a greater plan, and He will make these things clearer to us in the fullness of time. He will make these things clearer to us in times to come. And if you're a mum or your dad, or you're a godparent, or you're someone who's a mentor to somebody in some way, maybe the things which are happening now, keep watching out for what God's doing. Keep watching out for those moments and keep praying into the promises that you might have for somebody. Keep hoping and dreaming for them. Keep believing. The things which you might be finding difficult at the moment, maybe they're a young person, maybe they're somebody who it doesn't look like the future is unpacking for them in the way that you hoped it would be. Maybe there's so many uncertainties over their life as they're growing up, as they're maturing. And we probably all have people like that in our wider circle that we care about, but we don't know what's happening for them for the future. But I want to pray that we would hold on to the promises, and that God would give us precious and treasured promises for them as well. Maybe a vision of what their life might be in the future, and that we would pray into that. If we don't know how these things will pan out, what things will look like for that person at the moment, if we're concerned about them and we don't know quite where this is going to go, and they might not feel that they're in the best place right now, and you may be concerned for them, they might not realise actually, their struggles and their difficulties. They might not see a hope and a future. But you as a praying parent, you as a praying godparent or as a mentor, perhaps this is the time to treasure God's precious promises for them and believe in the purposes that God has for them. So I pray that we would firstly receive a clear word for friends, particularly younger people that we care about. And secondly, we'll see the evidence of what God is beginning to invest in their lives, that we would encourage that, fan it into flame. And thirdly, that we will be able to believe God and trust Him and pray into the fullness of all the promises and plans He has for their life. And that in future, in due course, these things will unfold and these things will come to their fullness and fruitfulness, and that person will blossom and flourish as they grow and mature and come into being all the person that God wants them to be.